Okay, here's my official thing. Good evening, good morning. As chairman of the tree committee, I am declaring that an emergency exists, and I am invoking the provisions of RSA 91A:2, 3B. Federal, state, and local officials have determined that gatherings of 10 or more people pose a substantial risk to our community in its continuing efforts to combat the spread of COVID-19. In concurring with their determinations, I also find that this meeting is imperative to the continued operation of town government and services, which are vital to public safety and confidence during this emergency. As such, this meeting will be conducted without a quorum of this body physically present in the same location. At this time, I also welcome members of the public accessing this meeting remotely. Even though this meeting is being conducted in a unique manner under unusual circumstances, the usual rules of conduct and decorum apply. And thank you all for your patience. We're going to start the meeting by taking a roll call attendance. When each member states their name, also please state whether there is anyone in the room with you during this meeting. We'll start with Deb.
Deborah Twombly. My husband's on board, but he is not in the room.
Okay. And Gwen?
My name is Gwen English, and nobody else is in the room at the moment.
Okay. Jay? We don't know. News at 11 on Jay. Jen Martell, we know, is not able to join us. Greg Bisson?
Sorry, I am here and no one's in the room presently.
Okay. And Kevin Breen is not able to join us. Sally
Ward here. No one's in the room at the moment.
Okay.
And Eileen, Jay just texted me. He is hearing this and he is here.
Okay, great. Thanks, Greg.
You're welcome.
Sarah?
Sarah Sankiewicz, present, and I am alone in a room.
You look like you're alone in the woods. Greg?
Yeah, good morning. Greg Jordan, here alone.
Okay. Kristen?
Yes, I'm here, and my husband's also in the room, but on his own meeting.
Okay. And I'm Eileen Flockhart, and I'm in the room by myself. So that takes care of attendance, and I think we can go ahead and begin our meeting. And we want to try to use this little raise hand symbol. So if everybody goes to the bottom of your screen and clicks that participants thing, and when you want to make a comment, you click the raise hand button, and we'll see, like you may see right now that Gwen English has a little blue hand raise button. And so if we were talking about something, she would be the first one recognized.
I do have a question.
Okay.
I can't hear Kristen at all. And I don't know if the rest of you can or not.
It's very, very soft.
It's very soft. Okay. Sorry, Kristen.
All right.
I don't have the little raise hand. Where's that supposed to be?
If you look at participants and slide over
At the bottom.
when you see the participants, you'll see the list of people. And then there's invite, there's mute me, and there's raise hand at the very bottom.
I don't have raise hand. It just says invite, mute me, and then there's a little dot. Oh, okay. There's raise hand. It's on the dots.
Did you find it?
Yep, got it.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Gwen, did we solve the Kristen volume problem? She's going to use the phone, I think.
Oh.
Yeah, Kristen, I'm sending you some instructions on how to switch to join with your phone audio. So see that in your email in a little bit.
We'll wait till Kristen's able to hear us.
Can you guys hear me now?
Ah, now you
All right.
Okay, we're in business.
Thanks, Kristen.
Okay, if you've gotten the little agenda, I want to start with a little summary of what we were able to accomplish before our meetings had to be canceled. Sarah and I met with the Lincoln Street School Green Team in the beginning of March, I guess it was. And Sarah was able to talk to the kids about what being an arborist was all about. And we had some conversation about what favorite trees the kids had and talked about the tree that we were going to be planting in their playground area. And that has, that effort has since morphed into a writing activity for the kids in both those two classes who are writing stories and drawing pictures or taking photos of their favorite tree. We're working on a way to connect that to a weekly bit in the newspaper where a kid's tree story could get highlighted, but I haven't heard back from Alex Lacasse on that yet. We do have a specific location for the tree at Lincoln Street School, and we want to expand the awareness of that, even in spite of all of this. And Lord knows whether school will remain, in this Zoom state for the entire year or what. But we're going to find a way to plant a tree there in the school in a location which is quite near their buddy bench, if you know what those are. So that's where things stand as far as the tree goes. I did go out to Stratum Circle Nursery to look at a couple of possibilities for trees. And so we'll need to come up with what looks like a good selection of a tree that's fairly kid-proof and sturdy and doesn't induce young people to climb on a little young tree too soon. And so we're still working on some ideas there. So I welcome any suggestions that we get going forward. But we do want to expand on, some TV activities. I think even having our meeting here today, broadcast on Channel 22. A lot of people home now. There could be even watching it. So that may just sort of spread our news a little bit further. So I'm open to thoughts. The trees that I looked at Stratum Circle Nursery were a Chinese elm, which looked to be a fairly sturdy and upright tree with about a 3-inch caliber. And there was also a sycamore that looked pretty decent. We kind of said maybe we want to stay away from maples because the town is just so full of maple trees. But I did ask, just for a ballpark figure, what would a tree like that run, a 3-inch caliber decent tree? And he said retail would probably be $4.99, and for other stuff, he would probably be able to give it to us for $250. So I would think that we wouldn't have much trouble coming up with the funding for that first tree, probably even amongst ourselves. I mean, I'd be willing to kick in for the tree. So I think initially, to get it started, the dollar figure of raising money for the tree is really not the issue. It's more of deciding on a tree and trying to figure out when we could possibly get it in the ground. Jay has said that he can get the DigSafe people on about 3 days' notice to check the site and approve it. And once they give approval for the site, that's good for 30 days. So say we did it mid-May and could maybe get the tree in the ground in June sometime, we could be okay with that. Tree City USA has also waived the Arbor Day requirement for reapplication to Tree City for this year so that you can fulfill all your other application requirements, but you don't need to have an Arbor Day celebration with people generating too close together. So as much as we'd like to do something, we don't have to do a large gathering, which makes me sad because I was hoping that the kids could find a way to all be involved in this, but we'll do what we can do. So if anyone has some other thoughts about trees, my feeling was that I'd like to go local for the first purchase of a tree, but certainly we're not locked into that. And so, that was my feeling to just sort of get this off the ground, is to go with somebody local. And Dave Short out there is very anxious to be more involved and part of how he can contribute to the expansion of tree planting in town. So it seemed like a good place to start. But so I'm open to suggestions. Now that I look at the raise hand thing, I see 3 blue raised hands. Do I know who's first, second, or third? How do I do that, Bob?
Whoever's at the top will have raised their hand first, so you can kind of go top to bottom.
Okay, so do I just click Greg's hand?
Yeah, I mean, you can just call on him and he can unmute himself, and then he can hold his hand, or I can do it afterwards. So
okay, Greg, you're on.
Yes, Jay actually is texting me because he's having difficulties, but he is suggesting a hemlock to replace the old growth tree that was taken down at Lincoln Street. Any thoughts on that?
A hemlock.
I would say no. So it's going to be right next to the playground. And also with hemlock woolly adelgid, I just think it's probably not the greatest choice. I love hemlocks. I think they're fantastic, but not for that location where there's a bench and the playground there. I just don't think it would survive well enough to become a shade tree where we could prune it nicely and kids could play around it.
I will pass that on to him.
I think shade was a definitely a factor, that you want to be able to provide some shade in some of these playgrounds that are extremely open and hot. Okay, let's go to Sally.
So I had in mind a red bud, but I would defer to the tree expert.
Okay.
I think red buds are beautiful and they have interest all year round. But I don't know what your thoughts would be, Sarah. And I also think it's an excellent idea to go local. And Dave Short's always been very generous, so I like the idea of going with him.
Red bud, they have become to be able to be planted up here. Usually the hardiness zone wasn't ideal for red buds in New Hampshire, but because of the changing conditions, we found some luck. The problem with red buds in the last couple of years is that the extreme warm and then cold swings that we've had have been bad for the red bud. Plus, as far as the playground goes right there, you're not going to be able to get a very large red bud because they only grow 20, 25, 30 feet tall max. Yeah. So you would end up starting with a smaller tree, which may lead to more destruction of the tree depending on how hands-on the kids are. But red buds are absolutely beautiful in the spring, one of my most favorite trees. I just think that location that we had chosen right next to the playground and the bench is probably not ideal for the red bud. If we wanted to move it out of the middle of the playground and have more of a sitting area, I think a red bud might work better. That's my thoughts on the red bud.
Yeah.
Yep. So,
how about Deb?
I thought we should probably think about the purpose of the tree. And if shade is one of the purposes, then we might be, thinking about something other than a evergreen. Although, wasn't there a historic tree that got cut down that was one of the largest trees in the state a few years back? Was it a spruce? Huge tree back there between the two schools people used to visit. Nobody remembers that?
That one doesn't ring a bell. I know that there were a bunch of pines that were cut, but a while back, probably 10 years ago.
This tree was historic tree. When I first moved here, it would have been early, like 2002.
Huh.
There was a tree back there, and it was on the, New Hampshire forestry list as a significant tree. And then it got sick, and they had to cut it down. I suppose it would be in the paper because that's really where I saw it. Anyway, another thing was the environmentally, the oak is probably the best for numbers of birds eating caterpillars. They harbor the greatest variety of caterpillars to feed birds, to make nests and so forth. So environmentally or ecologically, one of the oaks would be really good. And I think kids like the acorns. I don't think they're anything that's wrong with having acorns falling, but I would suggest a bur oak or one of the oaks.
I would agree with you on the oaks, but I think that would be a hard sell for school and maintenance people. I think they probably wouldn't want the oaks as kids throwing them around, the acorns, and I would say we definitely run that by, because I've done a lot of plantings at schools, and usually oaks are a no, and anything with fruiting, that could bring bees and stuff are usually a no, which is unfortunate. But I wouldn't shoot it down. Oak would be fantastic. More stronger wood, less likely to be dropping limbs on the playground. But I would, before we purchase anything, make sure you run it by the school.
Yeah.
Well, I also think you want to say, yes, okay, let's make a decision on this particular location, this tree, but not rule out the future of some classic oaks or some other trees that people are really interested in for other locations in town down the road. So hold that thought. This is just one particular tree that has to be happy in a place with a lot of kids. That's basically, it's got to be a happy kid tree. So we've got to find a way to make sure that works.
And Eileen, Jay is saying that it was a hemlock behind Lincoln Street that was cut down in 2002. So that's why he made the suggestion.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
People came from far and wide to see this thing. It was humongous.
So if we were going to do hemlock, we would have a hard time maybe getting one because they can't be transported into New Hampshire. Yeah, so there are a few growers that do grow them in New Hampshire. And we would want to plant it not in the location we had chosen. But hemlock could be a possibility.
Sarah, what are your thoughts on a beech tree?
Yeah, beech tree would be great.
Yeah.
That was one of the ones we talked about. Too. When we were out on the site, we talked about a beech and an elm. And I suggested maybe tulip poplar, a little bit more weak wooded, but will grow on the faster side. But beech would be good.
Dave was saying that a beech is kind of a slower growing tree. And I think that's also something to be considered, is that if we get a good, decent sized tree that grows relatively quickly, we might have better success at providing shade in what we're looking to do. Sally, did you have a question?
No, I'm good.
Okay. And Gwen, I see.
Yep, just a couple of questions. I love the beech tree. I hadn't thought of that. I think that's a great idea. They're beautiful trees. And I just wondered what Sarah's thoughts are on the sycamore. That's also a nice tree. And then the other question I had was, and your comment about the acorns on the oak tree is well taken, because I know how much kids love tossing acorns at one another. But I initially was thinking about, I love chestnut trees, but those are even bigger fruit.
Yes.
Is that what's up on, if you cross over the bridge heading toward Portsmouth Avenue on the left, right before you get to the intersection? Is that a chestnut tree? That one with a beautiful, it's just got a huge canopy, and I think it has like large white cluster flowers on it in the spring. would that be a chestnut tree?
I believe that is a horse chestnut.
Yeah, so that wouldn't work. But I really like the sycamore and the beech idea. I think those are two really nice trees. And that's all I had.
Yeah, I think a sycamore would work as well. With the horse chestnut, they have very spiky balls.
Yeah.
Not playground friendly, but a very nice tree.
Forgot about those.
Yeah.
Yes, true. Okay, I don't know that we need to decide today about the particular type of tree, but I would sort of like to, I appreciate everybody's input, and that gives us a little sense of, all right, where do we look? What more detail can we get further down the road? Because we also don't know when we can put this tree in the ground. Greg, did you have any other thoughts about tree choices? Greg Jordan?
No, I think you have a lot of good choices. There are a lot of large tulip poplars in town, so that might be a good choice. So I would agree with that.
I know that one of the other things we noticed and we wanted to maybe incorporate was that in addition to planting this tree, that we would improve the mulching and the care of the trees that exist along the perimeter of that playground. And when Sarah and Jen and I were there, and Jay has said this to me as well, that if we could do nothing beyond planting some trees, if we could also improve how trees are mulched and cared for and make sure that we maintain what we have successfully, that would also be a good learning experience for everybody who's working with trees. And you put a tree in the ground and it's an investment, and we want to be sure that we take care of the investments that we put in the ground. So sort of teaching everybody to take care of the tree better than we sometimes do. So that was sort of another spin-off from, here's a Tree City event and we're putting a tree in the ground, but we're also doing this. Sally, did you have a question?
No, my hand just hasn't gone away.
Okay.
You have to lower your hand.
I have a quick question. I'm thinking about when we're planting this, and fall is, if we're really looking for a healthy tree that is going to have the best chance of survival, it would be great to do this soon. But on the other hand, I just would love to get all your thoughts on whether it might be a good idea to wait until fall when planting a tree is maybe a little bit better for the health of the tree.
Greg Jordan, do you have a sense of that? I know that I've heard a variety of things. Spring is a good time. Fall is a good time.
Yeah, I can maybe defer to Sarah a little bit on that as well, but spring is a great time to plant trees. Fall is also a good time to plant trees. Really, you could plant a tree any time of the year. It's just going to require that extra care, especially watering, goes into the newly planted tree. And so fall is often have more rain, and it gives the tree a little bit of time to establish its roots before winter. But spring or fall, I think, are ideal.
Yeah. All right. Well,
yeah. We normally do a lot of spring planting just because that's when the stock's available in the nursery. So if you're looking for a particular tree, you're going to want to either reserve it in the nursery, or make sure that it's something that's abundant so that when it gets to the fall time, it's still available.
Yeah.
We find spring planting does fairly well as long as there's just general watering over the summer. If we are concerned that at the school there will be no watering or we don't have any stewards that would go and water it, maybe early fall would be better if we're there, if that's a concern.
Yeah.
Eileen, I do have tree diapers in my office for whenever we decide to to plant them, but not to look at the bright side of the kids being out of school. Planting in the spring, if they don't go back, might be ideal because we're not going to worry because the playgrounds are closed. There's not going to be kids tugging on it.
Right.
So that might be an option.
And I do know from talking to Keith Schmidt, one of the fourth grade teachers with the green team, they were planning on doing raised bed gardens and had gotten a new location and an outside water hookup that's closer to the playground. So it might be something that we could avail ourselves of, whether their school is open or not. I can talk to the principal there and see, what the ability for us to do that is. So that's a possibility. That sort of leads me into the next thing about this Tree City USA. AJ Dupuy is supposed to drop off or get to me our 2 signs and a flag or something. We need to figure out where in town. I don't think these signs are terribly big or impressive. They look like road signs or something. Where in town we could plant these these 2 signs that would be the most impressive. Epping Road does not look like a happy tree place, and Portsmouth Avenue is a little, tough. Where would you want to say we're Tree City USA? And look, here's a couple of trees. Anybody have any thoughts on that?
Don't we have a thing that says, welcome to Exeter?
Yeah.
Usually that's where you have Chamber of all the signs from all the organizations are sort of gathered there. And so you see everything. So wherever that is on High Street and Portsmouth Avenue, you could put them there, I guess.
There is an island on 111 right by Timberland that we maintain that does have Welcome to Exeter sign. It's in the middle of the road, but it is very visible.
Yeah, that's a thought. I mean, there is a collection of signs out by the exit 9 off of 101 that, welcome, and the Rotary and the this and the that. But sometimes you get too many signs all in one place and nobody sees any of them. It's kind of like campaign signs. If there are 15 of them, who cares? So it'd be nice to put it someplace where people say, oh, well, where did that come from? What is it? But we've got 2 of them. So if we were to put one down by where Greg mentioned, down on that little island as you come into town, any ideas for another one?
I had an idea.
Yeah.
What if we put one by one of the schools? So either in front of Lincoln Street or in front of Main Street, but maybe Lincoln Street because all of those new trees have been planted.
That's not a bad idea.
And that would also give something for the students to relate to.
Okay, well, those are 2 possibilities. I don't know exactly when we would be putting these in the ground because I don't have them yet. But it might be nice to combine that with whatever we can come up with as, whether we were able to plant a tree, say May or June, and announce it to the town via whatever services we can acquire, and maybe even have it filmed by Bob, and say, this is your virtual tree planting, and here's our flag, and here's our this, and the flag is 6 feet long, so we can stand 6 feet apart. To find a way to do something to brighten up the difficulties everybody's dealing with. I think if we look at those 2 possibilities, I can check with the principal about where on the sidewalk area in front of the school or a little bit farther down, maybe near their parking lot entrance or something where, there's people going to the train, there's people going in and out. Lincoln Street is a pretty busy spot, so that might not be a bad idea.
Eileen, does it say "Welcome to Exeter, a Tree City, USA"? What does the sign actually say?
I think all it says is Exeter, Tree City, USA, but I haven't seen the actual sign.
Because in my head, I was thinking that they say "Welcome to Exeter, Tree City, USA," and people put them entering town for some reason. That's how I picture them in my head when I drive into a town on a main road. But we maybe want to know what the actual language says, because if you put it in Lincoln Street School and it's like a "Welcome to Exeter" thing, then it would be a little funky.
Kristen, I know that Dover is a Tree City, USA town. And I've seen their signs going into town, but I didn't pay attention to what they actually say. Does that ring a bell for you?
I can't envision where there is a sign.
There's one up by the cemetery at the beginning of Central Ave.
I can go take a look today, but I don't know. I mean, that's certainly not the entrance to town. So, yeah.
And I guess AJ said that some towns do the signs up fancy. I guess Durham has a fancy wooden enclosure with a little roof over it and saying they're Tree City, USA town. But I don't know too much more than that about what other towns have done.
So maybe other towns incorporate them into their welcome sign.
Maybe that's
display, and that's why I'm thinking that. I don't know.
All right. Well,
I did. Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Just cut in. I did reach out. I haven't gotten a response yet. I reached out to Russ and also to Doug Eastman just to see if there were any particular regulations, for lack of a better word, on where we could post a sign, and just to see, explain what our meeting was about and what our purpose was with the sign. So if I get a response or some ideas from them, I'll let you know. I don't know if we have regulations in town about where signs can and can't go, but I'll keep you posted on that.
Okay. As soon as I get them, I can email folks and let them know what we've got and what they say, so that we can kind of have a little more information about making that decision. But I do want to put them someplace where folks will notice it, and in the vicinity of tree activity. I don't want to put them near the car dealership. It just doesn't have the right ring to it. Did everybody, I'm trying to remember if I sent, I guess recently I just sent a form that, is it Gwen? Did you make up this form for volunteer hours?
Yes.
Yeah. If everybody has that, if you can kind of keep track of, if you have done some digging around, you've looked stuff up, we're sitting in a meeting for an hour here. If you have information to record so that when we go to reapply for Tree City USA for next year, we have documentation of the hours that people are putting in. We had more than enough hours, but, just so you have a record of it, because it's hard for one or two people to keep track. We should be throwing together some sort of a report for the Conservation Commission's next meeting, and I guess they will have a meeting like this, so that we can kind of give them a little briefing of where we are and what we've done, or what we're starting to do anyhow. So if there's anyone who has any specific things that you think we should be sure to include to let the Conservation Commission know what we're doing, we can throw those out, or you can email them to me, and I can sort of maybe put together a written resume of what we've been doing.
Eileen, if you want me to do that report at the meeting, since I'll be at the meeting, I'm happy to do that.
Oh, that would be great, Sally.
And our meeting is the Conservation Commission next meeting is on the 17th, and it will be a Zoom meeting. Yeah.
Okay. On the 17th of April?
Yes.
That's a Friday. That's
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
It's on Tuesday.
What is the date of that?
The 14th?
The 14th.
14th. Sorry.
Okay, so that's next week.
Yeah.
Okay, that would be
How do you
great.
get on the list to attend that meeting?
I think you can join like we had a thing at the end of this that said if you, as a member of the public, would like to attend a Zoom meeting, there's a way to do it. Maybe Bob can help us out with that.
Bob Glowacki once again. So you can go to the town website, and most likely on that minutes agendas page, there'll be a video hyperlink next to the meeting. You can click that, or if you go to the top banner on the town page, you click that, and then you go to virtual meetings, and there's all the instructions for the public to join. But it's the same way you join the meeting today. You just do follow the same instructions. I don't know if you did this from an email invite, but there won't be an email invite, but it's the same meeting ID number and password. And this is the same one for every meeting that the government has. So,
okay.
Yeah, and it is posted on the agenda as well. So you can go to the town website on the agenda, and it's right there.
Oh, okay, good.
Right.
I had a question, if we could back up.
Sure.
What is the town's watering policy? Like all those trees that are in front of Lincoln Street, are we going to be a volunteer group that waters those trees? I know that Jay said there was it was hard to water all, take care of all these trees and watering them. What's the policy or what's the protocol for watering a new tree or the trees that just got planted?
I know that the trees that just got planted on Lincoln Street are the responsibility of the contractor for, I believe, a year from the time they're planted. And if anything doesn't survive, they are contracted to replace it and then follow it up for that following year. So there's some sense that, the contractors who put the trees in have some responsibility for that. I know that watering is a huge issue for the town because we don't have both the truck to do the kind of watering that does it fairly easily, and Jay is kind of strapped for the manpower to be able to get around to the places that need to be watered. So it's a huge issue.
I think that maybe that we could take on though and try and help solve somehow, because I don't think we can put the trees in the ground unless we have a plan to keep them viable.
I know at a meeting, a prior meeting when Jay was present, we had talked about setting up tree stewards. So people who are adopting individual trees that are committed to do the watering and, periodic maintenance of whatever that needs, airing out the tree diaper section or whatever is needed.
Well, and training them to how to do it, how can we water them? What do we need to do? And then become a steward.
We did find out from the state that there is a tree steward statewide program that people can go to for a tree steward.
Sarah, what are the details on that? Is that something you could send to me?
Yep. Yeah. So I had, I used to be a tree steward in Rhode Island when I lived there, and I was saying, I wish there was something like that. And we sent it around, and AJ sent back, well, we do have something similar to that through UNH Cooperative. And it sort of moves from the Seacoast area, Manchester area, and the Concord area, alternating years. So,
and so that's separate from the Natural Resource Steward Program?
Yes, I think so. I can forward it to you.
Yeah, I'd love to get that too.
Okay, yeah, send it to the team. Yep.
Greg, Jordan, you look like you're ready to jump in.
Yeah, the tree stewards became the natural resources stewards. However, caring for trees is still a big part of that program, and I could send you some information on getting involved on that.
That would be great for all of us.
I signed up for that program. You sign up now. I think it's in the fall, but who knows if they're going to have it now. I don't know how they're going to do that.
Yeah.
To be a natural resources, because I'm a master gardener. It's a program through UNH or similar to.
The tree diapers have been very successful when we use them. So they do replenish themselves with the rain. I think if I remember the directions right, a 1/4 inch of rain a month will replenish it for another month. So they're very good. We used them for the Liberty elms we planted at Gale and had no problems keeping them watered.
Great idea.
So maybe looking at tree diapers as a bigger investment for everything we do,
Great.
barring the availability. I know Jay has planted some trees on the streets. One out on Front Street where a family has said, we'll take on that tree and we'll water it and we'll do it. But not everybody's close enough to a tree and to the water source to be able to do that. But if you had tree diapers and people understood how they worked, maybe we need a special TV production of what's a tree diaper, how's it work, and look at what it does. And
maybe on YouTube already.
What's that?
It may be on YouTube already.
Oh yeah, I bet it is. Everything's on YouTube.
Exactly.
And Greg, you could do a YouTube about it. Greg Bisson.
I would be happy to do one. It's anticlimactic actually, because you actually let it soak overnight. So here you go, people. You put it in a barrel of water for a night and then you put it out. And then you mulch over it. So you can kind of hide it to make it, because it's not the most attractive, but it is a ring around the tree, and it works well. And Jay did text me right now, and yeah, he got the in by the bandstand to adopt those trees on Front Street. Yeah. So they're out there watering it. But I did notice the other day one of my tree diapers disappeared. So I need to replace it. I don't know what happened to it, if someone thought it was garbage or not, but I'll be bringing one out there.
Is it blue?
It's black. The black one. Yeah.
Not like it's Exeter trash bag or something.
Yeah.
Huh. Well, I think that's a direction to go in terms of future plantings and whatever, and part of the informational stuff, in addition to intelligent mulching and some of the mistakes that have been made and things that we can teach people how to do better, that we could do a combination of stuff that makes what we put in the ground survive. Here's a question I had. We have a Tree City USA Facebook page. It's not huge, but I would like to be able to expand it. I tried to post something on the Tree City USA Exeter page, and it ended up on the regular Facebook page, and I couldn't make it work. But, I think something as simple as people taking a picture of their favorite tree with a little comment and throw it up there and share it. People say, Tree City USA Exeter, what the heck is that? And we can spread the word about, things that are coming up. And, life may be crazy at the moment, but did you notice that there are buds on the lilac bushes? And did you notice that there's little leaves coming out on the crabapple trees? Just to sort of stir up a little, because I think there's a lot of people cooped up inside doing stuff like Facebook. So if you haven't found the Tree City USA Facebook page, maybe we could all look at it, find out a way to post stuff on it and stir up a little, more interest. And as soon as I get the signs and the flag, I can take a picture of them and say it's coming, something like that.
Is that a Facebook page that Kristen manages? I was just wondering about that.
I think Jen Martell started it.
Because you may want to check with me and maybe Kristen offline, but there's like a new social media policy with committee Facebook pages and the town and whatnot, that there's supposed to be like a staff person who's operating the page for the committees. I'm not sure how it applies to subcommittees, but like committees aren't necessarily supposed to have their own pages.
Well, the Conservation Commission does a wonderful page. How do they do that?
That Kristen manages that.
Okay. So is there a way for us to do a legitimate legal page?
I think Kristen could probably speak to that, and then we could, talk more offline probably as well.
Okay.
I'm not sure why my video is going out. I guess I have a bad internet connection, but I would be happy to be, hang on. Are you guys able to hear me?
Oh, yeah. Now we can see you too.
Okay. So I would be happy to be a part of that, but I don't know that I have the, and I can manage the postings on it. I don't know that I have the time to create the content if that's something someone wants to send to me and I can be the one to post it. If Jen wants to suggest content or something like that, I would be more than happy to support it. But at this point, I think I have 3 Facebook pages that I'm managing, and it's a lot. And so I love the concept. It's a great way to connect, but it is a workload, and coming up with original content is just something I don't quite have time to do. But if you need a staff member to, quote unquote, be the one to manage the page, I'd be happy to do that.
So there's no way that we could just be the ones to manage and create content and take the load off your shoulders. I don't want to add anything to your workload.
I was going to jump in and say I can also assist with some posting and maybe some content creation through like Exeter TV and whatnot. But I think the current policy is pretty new, and maybe we're still working through some kinks with it. I think the thought was that committees come up with the content and send it to a staff person to post, just to make sure everything's up to what the town policies are in terms of, content and whatnot, to make sure everything's, uniform and whatnot. And on top of that, I'm on the communications committee, and we're, one of our goals is a communications policy or a strategy, because everybody has a Facebook page and there's like thousands, and is that really even a good idea?
Yeah.
When, the Conservation Commission probably has more people on their page, so why not just post Tree City content if you're associated with them anyways? There's a lot of questions to ask before just rushing into making a page. I mean, I know it's already there, and you guys have like 61 people on it, but there's a lot to think about, and that's what we at Exeter TV are there to help with, any communication stuff, so we can do some of that. But yeah, there's also sections on the town website, I'm sure, for this as well, to post links and share content and whatnot. So
yeah, I guess I would suggest, or I guess I would reemphasize what Bob said. I think, it's great to have new content for the CONCOM page anyway. You're a subcommittee to the Conservation Commission. I think it makes sense to, to continue to post on the Conservation Commission page.
So if maybe that's something we can ask when Sally presents to the Conservation Commission meeting next week, would we be able to just post through their website as a subcommittee of the Conservation Commission? And, that might solve the workload problem.
Yeah, because just a quick look, the CONCOM's page has 10 times the number of viewers as your page. So
it doesn't take much to do that. No.
And then if you look at the town's page, the town page has over 100 times your viewers. So, it all comes down to strategy. Like, you don't want to pour a bunch of effort into this page and no one's going to see it. So I can help out with, some of that strategy stuff, and maybe even some of the posting. But
okay,
we can, someone could talk more with me and Kristen about that. Maybe if there's one of you, it sounds like Jen, who's more like the social media person for your group. We're happy to, do that.
And Parks and Rec is we share content of both the town and conservation. Kristen and I have a great working relationship there where we share events, and we actually share events as well. So we have about 4,000 people on our page as well.
Wow. Okay. Well, Bob, you being on the Communications Commission sounds like a real plus, because that's what we'd like to be able to do, is to communicate to more people. And since this is going to be our way of communicating for quite a while, we're going to take advantage of it. So,
and I'll also throw out, if you don't mind, I think I reached out to you and the other chairs of the green committees, because Renee Allen reached out an idea for like a green minute or something. And we have this show, the weekly report, which is every Thursday at 4:30, kind of like what's going on in town. And, a lot of people don't watch these meetings or read the minutes. But what we're looking to do with that kind of short video series is get like a under 2 minute video from the committees about, like, what have you been working on for the past month?
Okay.
And it could just be like at the end of the month sort of thing, or at the beginning of the month, whatever, like the past month, in meetings. And it could be every other month or when you have stuff to say, but kind of like summing up what your initiatives are so people can, get behind you and support you and, learn more without having to watch like a 2-hour meeting of people debating the minutia of tree species and whatnot. They may want to just, get the down and dirty, what are you guys up to? And we also are developing email newsletters for sending that kind of content out there where it'll be kind of to keep people up to date. So that's another option. If you guys ever have events or whatnot, we can get a little video package together, to promote what you guys are doing. And it could be, home projects for protecting your trees in these times when everybody's home, or, little things like that, or updates on, we were awarded the Tree City USA or whatnot, and, all that kind of stuff.
We should do a video. We should do a video of the tree planting at the school and certainly the sign posting.
Yeah.
It would be short and impactful.
Yeah, sure. So whenever you have those things, you send me an email and I'll get one of my guys out on it and,
okay, great.
Try and highlight those in little like news pieces or, press release online type deals. So.
Okay. The Historical Society does their, 1 minute things and they're very effective. And you look at it, here's your email, here's the history minute. And I go, do I want to watch this? Oh yeah, sure. It's only 1 minute and it's very effective.
And it's all about short shareable content online. So we can take that little clip we made from the bigger video and pop it online so people can see what people are up to.
It's our TikTok.
Maybe we can make a TikTok account.
I don't know what TikTok is. oh, Lord. Well, I think for now, we don't have any decisions that we need to vote on, but we do need to try to figure out what might be the best time frame for being able to plant a tree. But I think we need to kind of wait to see what decisions are about school, continuing or not continuing. If in fact the kids are not going to be in school, we may be able to look at a spring planting and find a way to create an event where everybody could be far away and still there. And, and then decide on a type of tree and come up with a basic plan for the tree diaper and the mulching and the whole, all that stuff and the purchasing of the tree. At this point, does anybody have any sense that we need to do big fundraising? I think for right now, if it's a $250 tree, I don't see any problem walking around town saying, give me some money, or I'll write a check. to see it go on the ground is worth $1 million to me. So,
and I'll be happy to do the tree diaper. I saw online they run from $18 to $99. So whatever Jay says is the right kind of tree diaper. I put a tree diaper on it.
And Greg Bisson has promised us some of those too. So we can get off the ground with one of Greg's and then keep going for the future. And maybe that's something we might ask everybody to kick in for. Would you like to sponsor? Can we give it a different name besides tree diaper? Can you say, would you like to sponsor a tree diaper? And people go, what?
Tree waterer, a waterer,
a tree saver, a baby tree life-giving.
Just say a tree watering device.
Tree watering device.
So then you can buy a gator, you can buy a diaper, whatever you.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
And Jay is this texting me. The tree, Public Works will pick up the cost of the tree.
Oh, Public Works will what?
They'll buy the tree.
Okay, buy the tree.
Really?
Yeah, you pick a tree and they'll buy it.
Sweet.
Nice.
Do we have a limit price
for Jay and Public Works? Can we just hear it for Public Works, boy?
Yay.
Those guys have been out there through thick and thin, even with a snowstorm and everything else.
Do we have a tree limit, just so we know? 250, 300? Get that from Jay, yeah.
Whatever Public Works can't do, we could cover.
We can take that offline and get the value from Jay. Just so when we talk to the nursery, we know exactly what we have.
Did we ever come up with a mechanism by which somebody could donate money? I know we talked about that at a previous meeting. So if somebody does want to contribute something, how do we go about funneling that money to the proper place?
I don't know. Sally, does the Conservation Commission have like a treasury or something if somebody wanted to donate to, let's say, setting up a trail or helping with something? Do they have any way to do that?
So I would defer to Kristen on that question. I know we've talked about a Friends of, in particular, Rains Farm, but we don't have anything set up yet. Do we, Kristen?
So the Conservation Commission has a conservation fund, and any donations to the commission can get put into that fund. It's non-lapsing, which means it doesn't go away at the end of the year. And when donations are made, if they're made for a specific purpose, and that's included in the donation letter, then it gets earmarked for that use.
So since we're a subcommittee of the Conservation Commission, that would be the vehicle. Yeah. Okay,
that would be a good thing to mention at the meeting next week. And thank you, Gwen, for bringing that up.
And Jay just got back to me, $500.
Jeez.
So you might be able to get 1 or 2 trees depending on the cost that you're looking at.
Wow.
Great.
We'll buy the donuts.
Well, that'll brighten your day, everybody. That'll brighten your day. Well, listen, I want to respect everybody's time, and doing these meetings like this is a little, I don't know, seems more tiring than sitting around a table. But if anyone has any other thoughts to kick in before we close, please jump in. Kristen, yeah.
So I had 2 projects that I wanted to share with the committee. One I brought up at the last meeting, which is Project Budburst. So we had planned this project with the cooperative middle school. I was going to go into the school and have the students start collecting phenology data on different tree species. I was able to work out with one of the 8th grade science teachers to roll that out basically virtually to the students. So they have started. They've started collecting their data, and he'll log it as data for the individual school, and has incorporated it into kind of their climate change curriculum in terms of analyzing change in phenology dates, year to year. So it's kind of an exciting program to roll out, and I'm happy to share that. He's bounced it to other teachers in his district. Dover has adopted, I can't remember which teacher in Dover opted to kind of participate in that. And then Oyster River has talked about it, but I don't know if they've rolled it out yet.
Neat.
Yeah, it's a cool program. And then the other thing I wanted to talk about is Peter Waltz. He has a spring tree program that he's put on every year for the past, I think we're up to like 28 years. And in fact, that big hemlock that you were talking about, Deb, that's where they used to march the students out to. But with that, so Peter Waltz is working with the school to roll out like a video presentation and then still go forward with tree distribution. We're still kind of working those details out, but just kind of another way to, I think it would make sense to kind of tag the tree committee as part of that, as a subcommittee to the Conservation Commission, just to get a little bit more bandwidth to this committee.
And I think
I don't know what you think about that, Sally.
I think it would be nice to highlight his efforts visually. Maybe that becomes one of Bob's weekly minutes or something, to say that, here's our tree warrior, Peter Waltz. He's been doing this forever. And, I've seen pictures of kids standing next to the tree they planted when they were in the 4th grade. And here they are, they're 34 years old, and here's the tree. And, you don't forget stuff like that.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea to fold that into what we're doing. And I think Peter would be totally on board with that as well.
Yeah.
So, Kristen, let me just make sure I understood what you said. We're still going forward with doing that this spring, even though, how is that going to work?
I know there is a presentation. Peter's working on getting that videotaped. What is unclear is how the plants will be distributed. Initially, it sounded like Peter could tackle packing them. Obviously, having the volunteers from the Conservation Commission help him is probably not possible unless he could divide supplies up, and you each work on your subset. And then the trees would be, or the seedlings really, would be left at the school for the kids to pick up at their own time, like a no contact pickup. But I'm still trying to work out the details with Peter. I'm not entirely clear on that.
It seems like if the supplies could be distributed, then people could do it in their own space. I think that might work.
Yeah, I know it's quite a workload to get them all packed up, so I'd hate to leave that all to Peter.
Yeah.
And Jimmy has expressed interest in helping out, too, if he could separate the supplies out like that.
Yeah.
Well, if you can keep us posted about, what we might be able to do to either facilitate that or help out or communicate that to people in town, let us know, Kristen.
Yeah, will do.
Okay, at the moment, does anybody have anything else that they would like to bring up? And I guess we'll figure out, we're going to need to meet again when we say, okay, here's a tree, here's a plan, here's some information about school open or closed or whatever. So I don't know that we can pick a date to meet again, but we can certainly communicate possible dates and times by email. Is that okay to do?
Yeah.
Anything around Earth Day?
Well, we had hoped to plant a tree that week of Earth Day, but I think that's going to be a long shot.
Yeah, we're not going to do that, but I guess something on the Facebook page or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Maybe the Conservation Commission would have some thoughts about, doing some Earth Day postings on their Facebook page. I'm sure that they're, I've already seen people, what are you doing for Earth Day? So Earth Day in your backyard activities. or something.
Well, even for Earth Day, social distancing, you could actually, when you go for a walk, bring a garbage bag.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Great idea.
That's what I do on the beach now. I don't collect shells. I collect garbage.
Yeah.
Oh, geez. Oh, Lord.
But you have to wear gloves collecting garbage these days because you don't know where it's been. But that's okay, too. That's okay.
Okay, well, listen, I thank everybody for coming to this new and exciting activity. Not new for some people, but for a lot of us it is.
Yeah.
And
thank Bob. Bob, thank you for your help in coordinating this for
No problem.
those of us who haven't done it before.
Thank you both for being able to organize this, and everybody for coming. And okay, now everybody go and have your next cup of coffee.
Eileen, I'll make some notes for the report to the commission and run them by you.
Okay, and I can chat with you. So
Great.
Maybe I'll be able to be there in a Zoom thing next week too.
Yep. Okay.
Sarah, enjoy your beautiful surroundings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God, I'd like to be wherever you are.
It's virtual.
I know. It
I know.
looks real, though.
Okay, next time we meet, we all have to have
a
better background. It's pitiful. And
clutter doesn't count.
You don't want to see the real background. Yeah.
How do you go to the background thing? I know my granddaughter was trying to explain it.
Down at the bottom on the left.
Next to the video, that little arrow.
Where it says the arrow next to the video camera.
Choose a virtual background.
Choose virtual background.
Oh.
You have to download. If you don't have a green screen, you just download a little thing. But
okay.
And my kids actually taught me this because they do it with all their friends.
Yeah, they're all doing it on their Zoom classrooms.
All right. Well, that's your assignment for next time we meet.
Whole new world.
Really fancy backgrounds. Well, we have some happy news from Public Works and Jay about being able to buy a tree and tree diapers and all kinds of other stuff that we can expand to make something happen. And I think it'd be nice for people to think about a tree in the ground in the middle of all this, and we'll find a way to make it happen.
True.
Yeah.
Carry on.
All right. Thank you all.
Thank you.
All right. Yep. Be safe.
Yeah, everybody.
Bye.
All right. I'm going to play with backgrounds. Choose virtual background.
It's more fun IT assistant for the town of Exeter, and I'm here to talk about the town's new mobile app, My Exeter NH. You can download it on the Android and Apple app stores. So this is a great mobile app. I have it right here, and I'm going to walk you through a couple basic functions to tell you a little bit more about what it can do. Once you've opened the My Exeter NH mobile app, you'll be on the home screen. First, I'm going to walk you through the most important and exciting feature, the Report an Issue module. Click on the Report an Issue button, which is the exclamation point on the home screen. The user profile information that you input will help us to get in contact with you regarding your issues if we have further questions, or to let you know that your issue has been resolved. Once you fill out the profile, you can select various issue types or issue categories. For this test, I selected roads and sidewalks, and I clicked pothole. Once you click the issue type, you'll see a map. On the map, you can either use your phone GPS or you can type in the address manually at the top. This will help us to locate exactly where the issue that you're reporting is. Next, you'll be prompted to add any notes. Please be as descriptive as you can in the notes to help us with the issue. You can also upload a picture from your phone or take a picture with your phone's camera. Once you report the issue, you'll see this screen. Thanks for submitting your first issue. You can click the My Report button here to review the issue you've just submitted, or you can click the 3 bars on the side menu, then click My Report to bring you to a page to see all of the reports that you've submitted. Also featured on the mobile app are several other buttons that have information about town departments or public services. For example, the Town Offices tab brings you to a page with bios about the town manager, the select board members, and also contact information for each department, including phone numbers, emails, websites, and social media links. There's also buttons about Parks and Rec, Exeter TV, and the public library. You'll also find a town calendar, news from social media and public bulletins that we put out, and several things from the town clerk's office. If anyone has any questions about the My Exeter NH app, they can email rglowAcky@exeternh.gov.
Here's how to submit an issue from the Town of Exeter NH Facebook page. Click Report an Issue. Select the department you'd like to file a report with. Fill out the form. Remember to be as specific as possible in your description. You can even include a picture or screenshot of the issue under the Add Media section. When you are finished, click Submit. Remember that for certain departments and in the case of an emergency, a simple phone call is the best option. This feature will soon be available on exeternh.gov as well.
If stormwater pollution was rubber duckies, it wouldn't matter what went down storm drains. But it does. Because stormwater pollution is not rubber duckies. It's trash, oil, cigarette butts, and pet waste flowing untreated to the sea. That's not good for any of us because we all live downstream. Clean water. It means quality of life.
Think blue, Exeter. Runoff returns.
sounds so sweet. Had to take me a chance. Rose out of my seat. Just had to dance. Started moving my feet. Well, they clapping my hand. Yeah, the man started rocking. Going round and round. Yeah, reeling and rocking. What a crazy sound. Really never stop rocking till it moving down. It was 12 o'clock when the place was packed. The front doors were locked. We was balling a jack. When the police knocked, both doors flew back. But you kept on rocking, going round and round. Yeah, reeling and rocking. What a crazy sound. You know they never stop rocking till they move it down.
best way to protect yourself from 2019 novel coronavirus is to avoid being exposed to the virus. Additionally, there are preventative actions that you can take to protect yourself and your family from the spread of respiratory viruses that can make you sick. These include stay home if you're sick, cover your cough, and wash your hands.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jay Butler, Deputy Director for Infectious Diseases at CDC. I'd like to talk to you about the new virus that causes the disease COVID-19. Older adults and people who have severe chronic medical conditions like heart, lung, or kidney disease or diabetes may be at higher risk for severe illness from COVID-19. If you are one of the people at increased risk for serious COVID-19 illness, it's especially important for you to take action to reduce the risk of getting COVID-19 now. The first thing you can do is take care of your own health. Wash your hands often with soap and water for at least 20 seconds. Use an alcohol-based hand sanitizer with at least 60% alcohol if soap and water are not available. Cover your coughs or sneezes with a tissue, or cough or sneeze into your elbow